I pay my humble homage to Founder President Shri Shivaji Education Society Amravati, Bhausaheb allies Dr. Panjabrao Deshmukh, and Santa Gadge Baba. Today, as a coordinator, I am here to host a webinar jointly organized by Department of Geology, Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya Amravati, and Department of Geology, Shri Shivaji Science College Amravati, on the occasion of birth anniversary of Shri Vikram Sarabhai. He being fondly known as father of Indian space program, this today is henceforth celebrated as National Remote Sensing Day. To begin with, I welcome the resource person for today's National Remote Sensing Day, Mrs. Nirmala Jain Madam. She is a scientist, engineer in Geodynamic and Geohazards Division, Geoscience Group, NRSC ISRO Hyderabad. I welcome today's guest of honor, Dr. G.N. Chaudhary Sir, Office Setting Principal, Shri Shivaji Science College, Amravati, and Dr. A.G. Vaidya Madam, Principal, Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya, Amravati. I also welcome convener for today's webinar, Dr. S.V. Kulkarni, Professor and Head Department of Geology, Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya, Amravati, and Dr. M.M. Deshmukh, Assistant Professor, Head Department of Geology, Sri Shivaji Science College, Amravati. I also welcome Coordinator Dr. S.R. Vargat Sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Geology, Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya, Amravati, in this webinar. Further, I also feel delighted to welcome all the participants attending the webinar. I welcome you all. I request Dr. S.V. Kulkarni sir to give an introductory speech for today's program.
Thank you, Ponikar sir. I welcome one and all for this webinar. Myself, Dr. Satish Kulkarni. I am working as a professor and head department of geology, Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya, Amravati. We all know that 5th August is being celebrated as the National Remote Sensing Day in the honor of Professor Vikram Sarabhai, who was a pioneer of the environmental, remote sensing, atomic energy, physics, many branches in India. Dr. Sarabhai was the first person who headed the Indian Space Organization, and he is only one person at the same time heading the Atomic Mineral Commission also. He was given the responsibility by our late Prime Minister Pandit Nehru to establish a full-fledged remote sensing and space organization in India. He was founder of the physical research laboratory in Ahmedabad. He was also founder of Indian Management Ahmedabad, and he was also the most important person in establishing India as one of the power in the remote sensing fraternity. It was his efforts that India was able to launch the satellite Aryabhatta. Later on, many of the satellites were built by India. It was the Vikram Sarabhai who established various centers at Ahmedabad, at Shar, at Trivandrum, and at various places so that India become self-sufficient in the space program. In his honor, on his birth anniversary, we celebrate this National Remote Sensing Day. And it was indeed a very proud moment that today also one environmental satellite has been sent by the ISRO at 5:30 a.m. So a very good occasion to celebrate this National Remote Sensing Day. On this occasion, the Department of Geology of Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya, together with Department of Geology, Shivaji Science College, have organized this one-day webinar and we are fortunate to have a resource person who was working in the same field. I welcome you all, and I hand over mic to Saurabh Pawnikar sir. Pawnikar sir.
Thank you, Kulkarni sir. Now I request today's guest of honor, Dr. A.G. Vaidya Madam, to say few words on this occasion.
On behalf of Bharati Mahavidyalaya Amravati, I would like to welcome one and all over here. My special welcome goes to the resource person for today's webinar, Ms. Nirmala Jain, scientist and engineer from Hyderabad. I would welcome Dr. G.N. Chowdhury, Principal, Shri Shivaji Science College, Amravati. I would also Mayuri Deshmukh, Dr. Satish Kulkarni, and Dr. Sumit Vargat and Dr. Saurabh Pawnikar. In a lot of trouble to organize this webinar on this very important day. He has given a very brief but very important information regarding this special day and what makes this day special. Today, organizing this webinar is an event in itself, and it is dedicated and devoted to a wonderful person about who we all know, that is Vikram Sarabhai, who has contributed a great deal in this field, not only in this field but in many other fields too. We contribute and we devote this webinar to him. The topic of today's webinar, as we all know, is application of remote sensing in geosciences. A very upcoming topic, a very upcoming trend. As we know that science is one field that is never constant. It is continuously growing, continuously progressing, and continuously surprising and shocking everybody, all of us. In this field, especially in the field of science, we know that nothing we can say is permanent because it is an ongoing process. And number of new trends are coming up. I would like to congratulate Dr. Satish Kulkarni, who have taken the special efforts to bring up this very important topic for this webinar. And students are definitely going to benefit because of this. I would like to welcome all the students also for this program and congratulate all the people who have taken efforts to bring about this webinar for the benefit of the students. I'm not going to take much of the time because we all are very eager to listen to what our resource person is going to speak on this very important topic. So once again, I congratulate everybody and my best wishes for this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaidya ma'am. Now I request guest of honor, Dr. G.N. Chowdhury
Yes,
sir,
Vargat
to say
sir, over to
few
you.
words.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Vaidya
Pawnikar
ma'am.
sir.
Now I request guest of honor, Dr. G.N. Chowdhury sir, to say few words.
Thank you, sir. Respected Dr. A.G. Vaidya, Principal, Bharati Mahavidyalaya Amravati, convener of this webinar, Dr. Mayura Deshmukh, Department of Geology, Sri Shivaji Science College, Amravati, and Dr. Satish Kulkarni, sir, Bharati Mahavidyalaya Amravati. Resource person, Ms. Nirmala Jain, scientist, NRSC, ISRO, Hyderabad, dignitaries, and all my research students. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all for this webinar on the view of National Remote Sensing Day. As we know that every year on 12th August is celebrated as National Remote Sensing Day in India. To celebrate the legacy of the great visionary, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, who is popularly known as Father of Indian Remote Sensing. Today's topic of this webinar, application of remote sensing in geosciences. Certainly, this will benefit to the research students. I congratulate organizers for conducting such webinar, and I hope this webinar will help to spread awareness about the use of remote sensing technology for the environment and society. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chaudhary sir. Now I request Dr. M.M. Deshmukh ma'am to introduce today's resource person, Mrs. Nirmala Jain madam, to our audience.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I pay my humble homage to founder president of Sri Shivaji Education Society, Dr. Punjab Rao alias Bhausaheb Deshmukh and Sant Gadge Baba. I welcome today's resource person, Miss Nirmala Jain, guest of honor, Dr. G.N. Chaudhary sir, and Dr. A.G. Vedya ma'am, Kulkarni sir, my colleague, and all participants. Miss Nirmala Jain, working as a scientist, engineer in Geodynamics, Geohazards Division, Geoscience Group, NRSC, ISRO, Hyderabad. She has her BSc from Arts, Science and Commerce College, Chikaldara, MSc from Government Institute of Science, Aurangabad in Geology. Her research work on land use, land power around Godavari River, Andhra Pradesh in National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, Nagpur, Maharashtra. She also work on mineralogy from surface of planet Mars, study of minerals from Martian analog science in Space Application Center, ISRO, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Now recent research working on seasonal landslide inventory mapping for all states of India, event-based natural hazards, landslides, early warning system, Martian analog for study of clay minerals of planet Mars, mineralogy of Mars, geomorphology of Mars in National Remote Sensing Center, ISRO, Hyderabad, Telangana. Her major scientific fields of interest are remote sensing, disaster management, and planetary science, etc. She has participated in national, international conferences, and published 25 research papers in peer-reviewed journals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahira ma'am. Thank you, Mahira ma'am. Now I invite today's dynamic resource person, Mrs. Nirmala Jain ma'am, to have talk with us. Ma'am, you can start your presentation now.
Thank you, Ponikar sir. My voice is coming.
Ye- yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mayura, for this brief introduction. And before starting my presentation, I would like to thank Dr. Chaudhary sir, Principal Shri Shivaji Science College, and Dr. A.G. Vedya ma'am, Principal Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya, Convener Dr. Mayura Deshmukh, Head of the Department, Shri Shivaji Science College, Dr. Satish Kulkarni sir, Head of the Department, Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya, Coordinator Dr. Saurabh Ponikar sir and Dr. Sumit Vargat sir. Thank you all of you for inviting me for this webinar on National Remote Sensing Day on the occasion of birth anniversary of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the father of the Indian space program. As I am also from Amravati University, it is a great honor to me presenting information on remote sensing related to the geological applications in my parent university to the students. I'm working in this field since 2010 after joining ISRO. So previously I was in a Space Application Center, Ahmedabad. There I was involved in the especially the other planets study, geological related studies, especially Mars. So I have done the mineralogical and geomorphological studies with the help of some our Mangalyaan mission, ISRO's Mangalyaan missions data set, and other international data set also I have used, especially from NASA's CRISM mission. As we cannot go to Mars, but we have a data of high resolution data sets and hyperspectral sensors. So with the help of we can study the geomorphology and mineralogy only. On the basis of that, we can get some information about that planet, about his previous history, past environmental condition. Now, after in 2016, I joined here National Remote Sensing Center, NRSC ISRO, and here I am basically involved in the natural hazards studies, especially in landslides, which is and we are working the landslides, especially in the hilly terrains of the Himalayas, northeastern states, and western Ghats. Because in these areas heavy rainfall are occurring, and because of the these rainfall landslides are occurring very much, and people are getting affected in this region. So what I have done regarding to planet Mars and these natural hazards related and landslide related studies, I will show my some work in my future further slides. So it is again my pleasure to present information on remote sensing and its application in geology to the students. Hope it will help to them to go in a remote sensing field in their future, and they will get idea how remote sensing and satellite data sets are helping in exploring the geological information. Not only our Earth, but also we can go to the other planets also. So with this, I will start my presentation. I will share my screen here. Okay. Screen is coming.
Yes, madam.
Okay. So with this, I will start my presentation. So basically, the student point of view, I will try to complete all about remote sensing basic concepts, and then we'll see about how it will work or how we will get information, geological related information with the help of remote sensing processes and satellite data sets. I will touch the geology part, and we'll also touch the planetary science, especially for Martian studies. So, what is remote sensing? That I will tell you first. The remote sensing is the process of detecting and monitoring the characteristic of the of an area of any object or any area or any object by measuring the reflected or emitted radiations from a distance. So we no need to go to that object. We have a satellite. We will get the information from that object directly with the help of satellites, and we can study them from any place of from any place. No need to go to those places at all. Like this. So generally, for example, cameras on satellite or airplanes takes images of large areas on the surface, on the Earth's surface, and allowing us to see much more information than we can see when standing on the ground. So if you are standing on ground, you will get only the information where your eyes can see, or your eyes can cover how much area, that much information you can see. But if you have a satellite data set, you from space you can cover the more information, or more you can cover the more area, and you will get the more information whatever application you want to use. So for example, here we can see the largest forest fires are generally occurring in forest area. So how much damages is occurring, that we can see here, and it will help to the rangers to see much larger area than from the ground. with the help of satellite data set. We can track the clouds to predict the weather or watching. We can with the help of this tracking clouds, we can predict the weather also. Then further here we can another see the rural development or urban development. If we have the historical images or historical satellite data set of previous years, so with the help of different year data set, you can see the how the development is occurring in rural area in a particular location or in the urban area in a particular location. Like here you can see the 2009 image is there. Then after that, for same location, we have taken 2015. You can see here the development of the this crop area. It is there. Then urban in urban development, you can study this construction related, building related, or wherever the damage activities is there, wherever the construction is happening, how much area is covering in which feature. Like those map we can prepare. Again you can prepare the land use land cover. Here the example of the Goa, like you have a satellite data set with the help of you can extract the information such as build up area for urban and rural area, from mining area, cropland, how the changes are occurring in those land area, agricultural land area. Then canal, river, how the changes is occurring. Like those map you can prepare with the help of satellite data set. So in such application, satellite data set is can be used. In next slides, temporal analysis, temporal data set analysis we can do. Here we can see the false color composite data set we have. Here we can see the how the crop is changing or how crop is growing in a different month. So like this information also we will get with the help of satellite data set. So we have a different, we can use we can have information on weather, on change detection we can do, and in urban development, rural development, forest fire, or many other application. For this we need a spacecraft or satellite. For those satellites we should have a launch vehicles. So presently ISRO has PSLV and GSLV. What they are carrying the spacecraft to the orbit, and it is putting into the orbit in a specific location, and that spacecraft is moving around the earth and giving the information. So these are the some previous missions which have done by the ISRO for different applications. So yes, I told just like we have if camera, we'll get a few little information up to the camera's field of view wherever it is there. That much information we will get. But if we have a platform, we can cover the more information or more area from the ground compared to the camera with the help of satellites. Other platforms are also there, like high altitude, medium altitude, airplanes, helicopters, balloons. People are getting information with the help of these also. Then orbit, I just told that we have a sun synchronous orbit, geostationary orbit. The satellites are moving around the pole to pole or giving information along the equator. For the Earth observation application system, these satellites are these orbits are useful. Also, these geostationary orbit or geostationary satellite are useful for the weather forecasting or telecommunication. Like this, it depends upon the which application you want to do or which application you want to use. According to that, you can select the orbit, you can select the data set or satellite data. Then in remote sensing, electromagnetic spectrum is very much important because all it is the role of the radiation. Satellite is only taking the radiation from the object, which is reflecting from the object, and all thing is depend on this electromagnetic spectrum. So we have electromagnetic spectrum from shorter wavelength to longer wavelength. Different wavelengths are playing the different role, or from different wavelength we are getting the different information. As we know that visible spectrum we can see by our eyes from 0.4 to 0.7 micrometer. But other than these micrometer range, the remote sensing can detect other radiations also. For example, here we have infrared region. These are very much important for the study of minerals and rocks. Microwave region is there. Then we can study with the help of paleo channels or some paleo related activity. We can get the information regard with the help of microwave data set. So we should know that our application is there, what we want to study. According to that, we can select the satellite which is containing which wavelength, that we should know, and we can select them. And this is a simple, in a brief, I will tell that when the object is reflecting the light and catching the sensor, it will go to the atmospheric of the earth. There, that reflected energy, there are different processes happening like transmission, reflection, scattering, absorption, because of the content which is present in the atmosphere, our earth atmosphere. Then it is reaching to the sensor, and then we are getting information from the center sensor, and we are processing those data set. My voice is coming. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, ma'am, you are clearly audible.
Okay. Then just in a brief, I will tell that in the satellite data, when we are receiving, there are different type of resolution which is matters more, which is very much important, because if we are like there are different four types of four five types of resolution are there. In first, if images are high special resolution is available with image, so we'll get the clear information. Like in comparison to this low special resolution and high special resolution, we can see the houses roof are very much clear, roads are very much clear. In a low special resolution data set, you can see the not that much information we are getting. So high resolution data set is playing very much important role in the analyzing the data set. Similarly, radiometric resolution, if high, then we'll get the clear image, we'll get the clear information, more and more information compared to the low radiometric resolution. Here the example is for the temporal resolution, like if for the same location we are taking the different years of the data set, we can see the changes, how it is happening in that time period. If we are taking for like 2-3 year before the image, this is the image like from 2-3 year before, and this is the image after the 2-3 year before, how the crop is changing, how crop is growing, how where the changes are occurring, that we can see with the help of temporal resolution. So in short, the basic principle, like main is the source of energy from sun. It is going to the object. It is the object is reflecting that energy radiation, and it is catching by the sensor. Then it is sending to the receiving station. We are getting here some processing is happening with the for that data, satellite data. Then we are getting, after processing of the satellite data, we are getting that data for the analyzing. We are interpreting, then interpretation we are doing like according to your application, like for geology, agriculture, or whatever you want, that we can do with the help of analysis. Then we are getting the map, like for user, we can provide the maps of different thematic map with the help of analysis of satellite data. Most important thing is there are two different sensor types are there, active and passive, in which this is the process where we are getting when we are using source of energy from sun, then it is coming in a passive remote sensing or passive sensor, we can say. If the source of energy we are getting for directly from the satellite, then it is the active remote sensing. So different uses are there for those also. So important thing now, we know that how data is coming, how data is going to the satellite, how it is coming, how it is then it is the processing is happening, then we have to analyze. Like, so we should know how to analyze also the satellite data set. So the basic things in BSc or graduation level in remote sensing, we have a syllabus. In that syllabus, you must have the visual interpretation thing. So we have a satellite data. So there are different elements are there: tone, texture, shape, size, pattern, shadow, and association. So tone, what is there? If directly example, if you see, we have a satellite data set here. The water body is there. Then the ridges of the rocky terrain are there. So here you can see the light tone or bright tone, dark tone. On the basis of that, you can classify this satellite data. Here also some croplands are there, buildings are there, then the rocky area are there, how the grayscale or how the tones are there of the different objects that we can see. Then shape and size is coming. This is the area of Gujarat, Godhra area. The one town is there. The canal is going on. We can see the shape of the canal, or we can see the bridge, size of the bridge, then shape of the bridge. Then also the pattern we can see the agricultural land, how they are set up, how they are arranged. That pattern we can see. Shadow, the example I have not shown here, but if the cloudy area, cloudy image is there, you will get the shadow of the cloud also on the ground area here. Then association is simple, that if you have a reservoir, you will get definitely in association with some river, or river is definitely come in association with tributaries. Like this, the example, direct example or simple example you can see. With the help of that, or with the help of these elements, you can do the visual interpretation of your satellite data. This is the data of Sentinel-2 data, which is having a 10-meter spatial resolution. What is 10-meter spatial resolution? It means that one pixel, if you will see, you will get the information in that 10-meter area on ground. In that pixel, it is covering. That is the mean. So Sentinel data, it is available in a 10-meter resolution. It is freely available. If you want to do research, you can download this data set and you can have your application. So different application is there for remote sensing, like agriculture, oceanography, forestry, land use, land cover. You will see here the geology and planetary. Especially, I will share my work here, what we are doing regarding to the geology, regarding to the satellite data set, and regarding to the remote sensing. That my results or my work I will share with you all. Um, so remote sensing in geology application, what we can do? We can do most of the things in geology, like we can study the minerals, we can study the rocks, landforms. Rocks and minerals is especially important if we have a hyperspectral data set. Landforms, geomorphological landforms like fluvial, glacial, erosion, all we can study with the help of high resolution data set. Spatial resolution of data set should be high. And structural geology also we can do. Natural hazards in that earthquake, landslide, flood, volcano, all damage assessment related thing we can do here. Planetary geology, we cannot go to other planet, but we have information of the mineral and geomorphology. So we, on the basis of that, we can see the what we can get idea about, or we can get information about what geological thing happened in that planet's past history, or how was the environment was there in its past. Like that information we will get with the help of mineralogy and geomorphology. So, like I said, information of on origin of geological process and past history of the planet we can get with the help of satellite data and remote sensing techniques. So first I will show my work here regarding the mineralogy. So this area is basically from the Rajasthan Dungarpur area. We know that the highly metamorphic area is metamorphic rocks are there, especially serpentinite. In like a hyperspectral data set we are getting for satellites. At the same time, hyperspectral data set you will get on ground in a field with the help of the spectrometer. If you will go with the spectrometer in a field, if you have spectrometer and if you have rock or minerals, you will get the spectral signature of that rock and mineral. Say then freely some USGS or from NASA's or the mineral spectral library is available. You can download that and you can match your unknown spectral signature of that mineral with the available spectral library, and you can get the information what mineral it is there inside the rock. With the help of spectroscopy you can do this. After field work, you have the spectral signature, then you can download, or you can have the satellite data, and you should know the which band is useful for which mineral in satellite image. So you can there are some ratio techniques, like two ratios or two bands you can do ratio. You will get the information of the hydrothermal altered zone. Like this is the data set from the Landsat 8. I know that which band is useful for which mineral, or in which band I will get the information of the hydrothermally altered zone. So I have taken ratio of some images. I have taken the color FCC of that combination. Then here I got that the hydrothermally altered zone is coming in a red areas here, red areas, and the pale green color. And how to validate it is correct or not, we should know these also. So in fieldwork you will get, we have collected the location sample from these areas, and we have seen the which spectral signature of the mineral is there. Yes, there was this spectral signature of the minerals were matched with this altered zone. Like the study you can do in the mineralogy, then coming to the natural hazards. So this is the work which is presently we are doing here, landslide detection. So what we are doing in this, we have a satellite data set. We are selecting the monsoon area, previous monsoon data set. We are having previous monsoon data set, satellite data from before the monsoon and after the monsoon. Also, we have the satellite data set, and we are seeing or we are identifying where the landslides are occurring, and we are preparing the map for whole India. And this task we have done for the 2014 year. How many landslides have occurred in the 2014 in this landslide prone area, especially in India. So we know that we have covered the Himalayan region, northeast states region, and Western Ghats. Around the 45,000 landslide we have mapped for 2014 only 1 year. Like some few events were there before also, that also we have added in this. So like this study you will do in the natural hazards with the help of remote sensing, and of course there are some remote sensing techniques that we have to do for this detection of the landslide. There are automatic detection of landslide techniques are also there. We can prepare that model, and we can prepare that program and for automatic detection also, or with the help of visual interpretation you can see the landslide. In visual interpretation here this reflect, because of these landslides are here, we can see the before monsoon landslides were not there. This is the river channel, this is also the river, and the same location we can see after the monsoon these landslides are occurs. So with the help of tone or texture or this thing visual interpretation, we will do this thing, that mapping of landslide also we will do, or we can do with the help of automatic detection programs also. This is one thing. Then in another event based, like this is the kind of whole India we have mapped. Like sometime one landslide is occurring, so with what we can do in that, we like this is the in 2018 Himachal and Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, mostly landslides are occurring in a monsoon period. So this was a landslide occurred in Kotrupi town in Himachal Pradesh. There the major landslide was happened here. This is the location of landslide. What we have done, we have seen the previous 2-3 years back of satellite data for the same location. Here we have observed small landslide were there before here. So like what we know that before major earthquake it is happening now, before that some minor shocks are coming. In landslide case is also like that, some small landslides are occurring. So these are the weak zones are almost there. So there is a chances in future if earthquake due to vibration, or earthquake due to vibration is occurring due to earthquake or due to rainfall, heavy rainfall. These area can the landslide can trigger in these weak zones also. So such type of places we can locate, we can identify. If people are situated there surrounding area, we can inform them, we can save the life like that. Some amount of help or some amount of this information we can give to them, and we can help them at least at some percentage to them for to avoid some major hazard or from major risk. So this type of study you can do with the help of remote sensing in natural hazards also. This is the field photograph of that landslide, Kotrupi landslide. So in Kerala, now we know that since last 3 years, Kerala is facing a heavy rainfall and flood activity. So if heavy rainfall is there, flood is there, definitely in a terrain which is prone to the landslides, there that landslides are occurring because of the heavy rainfall. So what we have done here, we have taken the data sets from 2018 to 2020, and for all years we have mapped around 5,662 landslides. This is roughly amount, not exactly, but this much we have mapped. Because of there are limitations also, because sometimes clouds are coming in a satellite data. So some landslide you can miss also by mapping. to map. So some restrictions are coming. Sometimes data sets are not available. So whatever data set is available, with the help of those data set, for 3 years we have mapped 5,662 landslides for Kerala area, and because of the heavy rainfall only. So this is, and detail analysis again you can do, you know the location of some few landslide from these landslides. So you can select that those locations, those landslide, and you can do further the rainfall data analysis. What I have done here, I know the date of occurrence of landslide. I have taken the rainfall data for those days. Then also I have taken the rainfall data for previous 15 days. I have done the total. I have got information, or I have calculated the previous days rainfall, that we are calling as an antecedent rainfall, and with the help of antecedent rainfall and daily rainfall, we have plotted the graph, and we know the date of the landslide. So here we can see the how rainfall is playing role to trigger the landslide. So we have found that if 7 days rainfall, antecedent rainfall is coming with this much amount, so landslide can trigger. But rainfall is not only the responsible for landslide. There should be the topographic condition, how it is, slope, lithology, structure, the land use, land cover, how the crop area is there, or how the vegetations are there. All those role in a correlation with each other. The terrain is preparing for the landslide. So we should have the information with the help of with rainfall data set. We should have the information of all those things, geological, especially lithology, structures. This information also we should have for particular landslides. So like this study we'll do in the natural hazards. In this year, I want to tell that these is two landslide which is occurring in 2019 due to rainfall. Here you can see same location landslide was not there in 2018. Here you can see landslide is occurred, and in 2019 again some weak, because of some weak zones were there, and due to that this is reactivated further in 2019 rainfall. So how rainfall is playing also important role. So with geological information, with satellite information, remote sensing information, you should have the field knowledge also for those area. So this is all the combination of the work. Next is where you have a rainfall data set, you have a satellite data set, you have a landslide data of occurrence. At some level, you can give a prior information that this much area, if this much area is, if this much rainfall is occurring with these terrains, with terrain with this information, geological information or other information. So such area should be under observation, or such area or people surrounding such area, we should give them information that this area is not safe for them. Like that, at some level we can give the prior information. So NRSC, we have our early warning system for few routes in Uttarakhand, Himachal, and northeastern states. There we are giving the early warning also with the help of the rainfall data set and susceptibility maps, where the landslide prone areas are there. So next is flood. Another natural hazard is flood. This is a picture of the Kedarnath disaster. Here we can see the before disaster, how the river was flowing from this side. After the disaster, we can see the flow, their channels and their flow path were changed, and how much destruction. This is the temple. How much destruction happened, where the destruction happened. This damage assessment mapping we can do with the help of remote sensing and satellite data sets. So in natural hazards, it is very important. This is just to show how the river, near the river or within a river, how changes are happening. You have a different 2 year data set like 1987, 1991. So you can prepare with the help of this where the changes are occur. You can prepare the map of this river, like active river channel where it is, sand where it is, island where it is, bank erosion where it is, embankment where it is. Like this type of study also you will do for river. Then earthquake, of course, what damage assessment thing you can do before the earthquake, the image you can take, and after the earthquake you can see the damage, how damage is occurring. Some such type of assessment you can do for the in earthquake, when earthquake is happening, with the help of remote sensing and this satellite data. Again, in volcanoes, we know we have only one volcano in our Barren Island volcano. Then here we can see the nowadays it is active again, and for people are monitoring this volcano with the help of the satellite data sets. Here we can see the hot lava flows are there. There these smokes are there. Then the steam from the lava entering to the sea, that we can see. Such type of maps, such type of information only we are getting with the help of satellite data set. We cannot go there, we cannot stand on the volcano also. So we'll get only information from the satellite data and remote sensing techniques. So like this, you can explore what you want, and you can study your what you want to
तो प्रॉब्लेम
study.
झाला माझा, मी बोलायला सुरुवात केली
Like
ना, तर मधात थांबलो, मग पुन्हा
like
सुरू
this.
झालं तर
So
तो
this is a
गोंधळ
map,
व्हायला
geomorphology and lineament map. Like that, I told here, with the help of your reverse study, what you have done. If you have
जसं सुरू केलं बोलायला,
two
जी
different images, two different years
हवा
images or satellite data, you can prepare the geomorphological and lineament map also. Like here, you can see for we have map for the state of Goa. So such type of geological information related to natural hazards, mineralogy, geomorphology, structural thing, all those things we can do with the help of the landslide. With the help of the remote sensing data sets. And so further we'll go. I just want to show the results from the planet Mars. What I have done. Uh, so we'll basically tell you about planet Mars, that it is like our Earth. We have a time scale for Mars also. It is time scale is there. So it is divided into four time period. That is pre-Noachian, Noachian, Hesperian, and Amazonian, for 4 billion year to recent. So it is just like it is believing that the Noachian period is. Uh, Noachian period was warm and wet climatic condition was there. In that the phyllosilicates have found. Those Phyllocian we are saying those, and those time period minerals are forming. Minerals were formed. Then Hesperian time period was there from 3.7 billion year to 3 billion year. There was acidic climatic condition was there on Mars. Then third is Amazonian, 3 billion year to present. So in these three time period, different minerals were formed. Like it is believed that different minerals were formed: phyllosilicate, hydrous sulfate, ferric oxide. All these minerals are forming in a different environment, as we know on Earth how they are forming on Earth. So on the basis of that, we can say that yes, such type of, how they are forming on Earth, they might have found on Mars in a same condition, like that we can say, or we can study. So here the importance of mineral, because as I said, we cannot go to the another planet, but like mineralogy and geomorphology, with the help of that we can get many ideas, many information many information from the planet. So how mineralogy is important? Like I told, the phyllosilicate, hydrosulfate, and silicates. These minerals people have found spectral signature from the planet Mars. They are mainly forming in a aqueous and acidic environment. So we can say yes, aqueous environment was there, or we can say yes, acidic environment was there. And now iron oxides are much more in Mars, so we can say the oxidized environment is there. So such type, with the help of this mineral, the environmental condition will information regarding environmental condition of the planet Mars we will get. Then geomorphological landforms, many of us we are seeing the pictures from the surface of Mars. There are fluvial channels, valleys, impact craters. So formation, these geomorphological landforms, all the aeolian, even sand dunes, all those are occurring on planet Mars also. So we know how they are forming on Earth. So we can say some we can get some idea how they may have been found on or similarly they must have formed on planet Earth, like this impact craters. So impact craters in mineralogy especially related to the hydrothermal alteration, when some meteorite or something is impacting on the surface, some hydrothermal alteration is occurring, and one form to another form, or chemical compositionally, like mineral is changing from one to another form. So like this mineralogy we are getting due to the impact crater also. So fold faults. If we have a high resolution data set, Mars have a folds and fault signatures on its surface. In clay minerals, I told that phyllosilicates and all, it is the spectral signature of clay minerals are occurring in a flow feature, like valleys are there or river channels are there, past river channels. So these spectral signature of the clays we are getting from those near to those areas only, within those areas only. So how mineralogy is important for other planet, that is I'm saying here. Next is yeah, I'm just saying multispectral and hyperspectral. What is that? It does it nothing but the spectral signature of the rocks or minerals, like how many bands you have in your satellite data. From those reflected energy or reflectance and absorption, we are getting in a one spectral signature. And every minerals or every rock types, they have their own specific spectral signature. On the basis of that, we can say that which chemical composition is present in that mineral or rock. So why multispectral not, and why hyperspectral we are using generally? In multispectral, bands are very less. In hyperspectral, we are getting number of bands. So hyperspectral is covering the more information than the multispectral. Here we are getting one band is here, one band here, here, here. So we are getting the spectral signature like this. So we are getting deep here only. So here what is that, 2.2 micrometer. We know that the aluminum which is clay mineral is there, and because of that the deep is there. But here we can see the spectral signature for if we have a number of bands, more number of bands, we will get the deep here, 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 all. So it is basically important for the, if number of bands are there, you will get the much more information about the chemical composition of the minerals. Bands are less, so chemical composition also you will get the less information. So we are generally using for hyperspectral for Earth also, for other for planet Mars also. Maximum multispectral also people are using, but maximum hyperspectral they are using. So in a hyperspectral remote sensing, the why, like people are saying Mars, water was there or life was there on Mars. So basically all the evidence are important evidence are this mineralogy and their absorption feature, like 1.4 and 1.9 micrometer. It is basically for the watery related environment or watery related chemical composition. Whenever it is there, then only the we will get the deep of the mineral for this 1.4 and 1.9 micrometer. So we can say that water was there. So on the basis of that, people are saying that yes, water information, watery environment was there on planet Mars. So in SWI region, that near infrared and SWI region is very much important in electromagnetic spectrum to get the information about the altered mineral or aqueous mineral. So this is Mars Orbital Laser Altimeter Data MULA from NASA. Different areas name nomenclature are there, like this is the large basin on Mars, this is the large canyon or valleys of Mars, this is the large volcano on Mars, this is the volcanic system, volcanic province, this is another volcanic province on Mars, this is large impact craters or basins are there, these are some ridges, these are some fracture marks are there. So all these near these locations, basically the impact craters or valleys are there, and I have done we have done the hyperspectral analysis from these area. So and we have got the spectral signature of aqueous minerals, especially phyllosilicate. And this is one study from the valleys area only. This is Valles Marinery. It is along the 4,000 kilometer in a length and around 8 to 9 kilometer in a deep. So this is one portion from here. From here we have taken the The name of this part is Ayus Chasma. Chasma is nothing but for Martian terminology is a canyon only or valley. So some drainage patterns or see this previous landslide impressions, impact craters, all we can see small impact craters are there. So what we have done from these drainage channels, we have taken the hyperspectral data set from these locations, and what we have got, we have got the spectral signature of aqueous mineral. What is the meaning for this study? This is, we can say, yes, drainage pattern was there, and from these locations we are getting the hyper signatures of the clay minerals, and this is the valley area also. So we can say ki, yes, in a, is it's Martian past, some aqueous environment was there, and because of this phyllosilicates are were formed. So like we know on earth how they are forming, so we can correlate, or we can link those origin of or process of formation of phyllosilicates on planet Mars also. So like that study mineralogically we can do for other planets. Next is from this is from the same location that I was telling. From these location I have taken that spectral signature of the phyllosilicates. So yes, we know we are getting 1.9 and 1.4. This is importantly the watery related spectral signature or absorption features. And this is especially for the FEMG reach. If phyllosilicate is there, so we are getting or aluminium, we are getting the spectral signature from 2.2 to 2.5 micrometer. That this is very important region for the aluminium or Fe or Mg rich clay minerals. So we got from the, this is a spectral signature from Mars only, and we have uh, how we can validate this thing. So we have the Prism Spectral Library for Earth minerals. So we have compared this spectral signature with our minerals. It is matching. The deeps are matching with each other. So on the basis of that, we can say yes, this is the spectral signature of phyllosilicate. And here you can see that location again further. From this location again high resolution data set is available. So here that locations are there. Here you can see this is the layer deposits, some weathered area. This is again layer deposits. So yes, our hypothesis or our interpretation, we can say this is the valley, and this is the valleys are there, drainages are there, from these clay minerals are there, and the clay mineral locations are from the these if landform or geomorphologically we can see the how the surface is there, layers are there, or some weathered area is there, like this. So like this we can link our study with mineralogical thing and the geomorphological thing, and we can interpret the or we can analyze, we can get the information about the other planet. This is again from the from Valley's marinary portion only. Previously, I have shown this area. This is the study from this area, which is known as this is this portion of the valleys. Here also we got the signature of the carbonates, and we know how carbonates are forming. So we can link their process of origin, how it is how it have formed on Mars. This is Hellas Basin, large impact crater basin. Because of impact cratering basin is happened large basin on Mars. So clay minerals are occurring here in the this rim portion of the basin. This is the impact crater. So here we can say that clay minerals are forming in valleys. Now we will see the clay minerals are forming in impact crater region. So here there may be the process of formation was different because of the this fluvial activity. Here we can say the process of formation of the clay minerals is different because of the impact cratering or because of the hydrothermal alteration processes. So again, this is another impact crater known as Elorza. which is in a diameter around 45 kilometer in diameter. Central peak is around 9 kilometer. So it is the high resolution data set of the central peak here. Here we can see the central peak of the Elorza crater. Then we have the and after high resolution data set, we can see the geomorphological thing or surface feature, how it is there, and then we have the hyperspectral data set for here, so we can get the information of the minerals, like we got the vermiculite and pyroxene from this, and we can prepare map also, okay, where pyroxenes are available, where vermiculite are available. This is we can see this is the spectral signature from this area, and this is the spectral signature from our spectral library, which is available for the earth minerals. So how they are matching with each other, that we can see that this absorption feature especially should match. So we should know that the chemical composition is same. This is very important, 1.9 and 1.4. In every phyllosilicates we will get, which is showing the aqueous history. The same thing from same area, the high resolution data set. The clay mineral deposits are present from the layer deposits or some near the outcrops of older areas. Like this, we can get the information, more information about the surrounding area of that mineral deposit. This is another valley area called Ladin Valley on Mars. With the help of high resolution data set, we can see how the layers are present in a valley portion only. This is like river channel was there, past river paleo channel was there. In that, you will get the signature of this layer deposits. So here also we are getting the signature of phyllosilicates or clay minerals. So here, with mineralogy, and we have all these things. With all study, we can interpret how that minerals may have been come away from the Ladin Valley, or it has formed due to the weathering of the parent rock in the presence of water, or on the basis of that, yes, we can say the past water was there. Like this study, we can correlate, or we can link our this hypothesis, or we can study, or we can say yes, it was there. This is just want to show our from our Mangalyaan missions. Our Mars color camera was there, which has taken pictures of the valley's marineries. Then the Olympus Mons, it is around the 25-kilometer height. Then the impact craters are there. Then we can see the fluvial channels on Mars. This is again fluvial channels, and impact craters are there. If you will get the spectral signature of clay minerals here, so you can link your hypothesis, or you can say yes, what type of geological processes were happening there. Like that you can see. This is another location on Mars, the Gale crater, where the impact crater is also there, and fluvial channel is also there. Then volcanic area is there on Mars. That is Terranus Mons. We can see the lava flows, and this volcanic cone is there. If we have the digital elevation model, which is showing the 3D, if we can get the height of this volcano also. Uh, yes, with this, I'll stop my presentation. I think I have completed a little what I am doing and what I have done with you. Hope like geologically related to the remote sensing thing. And if students have more information, they can go to the National Remote Sensing Center site, NRSC site also. They will get much idea. Then ISRO site is also there. There also they will go to get more ideas or some information from the satellite data set, from missions, from how to use some results. Then we have one portal there they will get the more information for natural hazards, that what I have shown. Then we have outreach facility also here for colleges, schools, and for training purpose. They can students can come here, visit here, and they can take training also. Training or some this training also we are arranging for students or for remote sensing, data set handling, how to handle, how to interpret, and all those things. So students can take benefit of this also. So with this, thank you so much. I think I have taken much time. So yes, thank you for kind attention.
Thank you, Jain ma'am. It was seriously a very illustrative and very wonderful session. Thank you for such a wonderful webinar, ma'am.
Thank
I
you
would
so much.
like
Actually,
participants.
I have just tried to complete to show some results regarding the in a geology what branches are there, like different structural lithology, rocks, minerals, natural hazards. So where student can take their matlab interest, they can go there. One thing, just mostly students are mainly, I think, interested. Maybe some student how they will go in ISRO, how to apply or something, how they will get a job, or which direction they should orient their thing. That also, I just wanted to, if somebody will ask, I'll tell them how to do this. In NRSC or in ISRO, geological works are mostly matlab, we are not doing geological thing in all center. Few centers are there, especially in Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, or Dehradun, any SAC. Their geological applications are going on. So we are doing those things, and student can get idea that these the centers from the ISRO, they we are working for geology. So with this, thank you so much. If you have some question or students, they can interact.
Students can now ask their questions in chat section. Nirmala ma'am,
Yes, yes.
please go into chat section.
Yeah, yeah.
The students can ask the question. Madam,
Yeah,
we are
yes,
waiting for you. If you have got any queries, put them in your chat box.
yeah. The student are sharing, please ma'am, share your PPT to us. It is very useful to our BSc student. Okay, I'll share. I'll give to your HOD my PPT. Then yes, I'll share which type of software are applicable for student in GIS. Softwares related thing, there are some software for analyzing the satellite data set, especially ArcGIS. You can start with the ArcGIS. That is very simple also, and how to interpret the data, that we can do.
There is one question regarding interior of the earth. Ma'am,
Hello.
there is one question from Madan Sahu. Can we detect data of interior by using remote sensing?
Sorry, sir. Where it is? Can we
At the
repeat?
bottom.
Okay, ma'am, can we detect the interior earth by using remote sensing? Interior earth we cannot detect, but yes, up to few meter we can go with the help of microwave dataset, radar dataset we have. For this, at least you in geology you can detect the paleo channels, which is submerged in like in a desert area. We have like deserts. People are saying that paleo channels are there. So yes, up to few meter you can go with the remote sensing dataset or satellite dataset. Any other questions? how can we work with ISRO and NASA? If you want to work with ISRO, yes, you have some project proposal. If you have some ideas, you can come with proposal with us, and we can do work with together like that. There are different programs are there. There we can submit the project proposal, what idea you have, what on which you want to work. Then you can submit to the ISRO or particular center. With that we can work with NASA. Internally, we scientists we are working with them. A student, yes, there are some programs are there. You can visit their sites. If they training or something they are giving, that you can attend, or you can use their free. They are giving freely some data sets that you can use, and you can start your research with in this way you can work. And if students some student project proposal, if you have a good idea or some research idea, you all are welcome. We can think to work together with some through some programs. Like we have tie up with universities, IITs. We are in a collaboration. We are working with them. So students are involving in that as a JRF or SRF like that.
Okay, no more questions, I think. Yes, no questions are there.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Panikar sir?
Thank you.
You can
Thank
proceed.
you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
At the end of this program, I request Dr. S.R. Vargat sir to convey a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Pavnikar sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected guest of honor, principal, invited resource person, delegate, teacher, student, and all the participants. It is such an honor for me to get an opportunity to thank you all the delegates. I would like to express my gratitude to all the esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar great success. On the behalf of Department of Geology of both colleges, Bharatiya Mahavidyalaya Amravati and Sri Shivaji Science College Amravati, I extend my gratitude to our respected guest of honor for today's webinar, Dr. Aradhana Vidya Madam and Dr. J.N. Chaudhary sir, to take time from their busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you, Madam and Sir, for inspiring and encouraging us with your word on this special day. And I also extend my gratitude Miss Nirmala Jain Madam, scientist in Geodynamic and Geohazard Division Geosciences Group, NRS ISRO Hyderabad, for accepting our invitation for the webinar. On this occasion, Ms. Nirmala Jain Madam, you given a very interesting and knowledgeable speech to our student. I am sure, Madam, our speech is very motivational to our student and they and also the participant, and it will develop their interest in the field of remote sensing and GIS. I special thanks to convener for today's webinar, Dr. Satish Kulkarni sir, professor and head, and Mayura Deshmukh madam for providing immense support and motivation for the webinar successful. I extend my gratitude my co-partner, coordinator for the today's webinar, Mr. Saurabh Pavnikar sir, for the wonderful anchoring for this event and make a contribution to organize a webinar. I also thankful to all the teachers for their cooperation and motivation and joining the webinar. Last but not least, I thankful all the students showing their interest to the program. Once again, I thank you all one and everyone for making this program successful. I also especially thanks to some guests, Patil sir from the MRC Pune, he also joined. I also thankful to Ranjana Gawande madam, HOD Devguri College, she also joined. Also the Deshpande sir, Anil Khandekar sir, Dr. Maure sir, A.K. Baile madam, all one are joined for this webinar. I thankful to everyone. For the chair permission, I announce here the webinar is stopping here. The feedback link and e-certificate will be received to the participant on their registered mail ID. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, one and all. We will be in contact with you, Jain madam.
Yes, sir. Definitely,
Yes.
definitely, sir.
We'll try to.
You try to bring your
We'll try to
students,
take your
sir.
best finalist students to ISRO Hyderabad.
Okay, sir. Definitely, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayura, for your cooperation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kulkarni sir, and thank you, Mayura madam, for arranging a wonderful webinar.
And thank you also, sir,
Thank you.
for joining me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.